Happy Wednesday, Youngevity Nation. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, where we talk about everything holistic, where we bring to the table science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery, which are the norm, which are the monopolized medical system in the free world, which is a great medical system when it comes to emergency care, trauma, surgery when it's absolutely necessary, and a handful of infectious diseases, but for everything else, for, in fact, most of the conditions that most people visit the doctor for, MD-directed medical therapeutics are the wrong dog for the hunt. And you know, numbers are a stubborn thing. MD-directed medical therapeutics are, in fact, the leading cause of death in the United States and the leading cause of bankruptcy. The only reason that this nonsense persists is because the medical marketplace in the free world has been monopolized by the pharmaceutical industry around the world and the American Medical Association in the United States, to our dismay and distress. Now, rising out of this rubble, there exist pockets of hope all around the world. One of the greatest lighthouses of holistic hope is the Youngevity company. Youngevity, founded by Dr. Joel Wallach, my colleague, mentor, and friend over 17 years ago, stands in direct contradistinction to conventional medicine, because Youngevity says, guess what? Healing is not complicated. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. And Youngevity brings to the marketplace science-based, clinically verified, holistic medical foundation boilerplate therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's God-given ability to fix itself. That's right, I said it live. God-given ability to fix itself. Thank God for Dr. Wallach, and thank God for Youngevity. I'm a student of history. For those of you who are frequent listeners, you might know this about me. I love history. I'm a big history buff. History is important because, you know, it informs where we come from, and if we pay attention to it, it will give us insight as to what we can expect in the future. Like they say, history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes, right? Well, part of Youngevity's history is important, and I want to take time to talk about this today with my very special guest, who I'm going to bring up here in about 2 minutes. Youngevity has entered its early adulthood. Youngevity's been alive for about 17, 18 years now, and in the last 2 years has experienced remarkable exponential growth. Youngevity is entering into its young adulthood now, but Youngevity would not have made it this far. It would not have made it this far were it not for a handful of loyal Youngevity distributors who heard Dr. Wallach's message 17 years ago when it wasn't so politically correct. Well, it still isn't politically correct, but when it wasn't so sexy, right? Years ago, nobody even knew how to pronounce naturopath, let alone know what it was. I mean, it's a problem now today still, but 17 years ago, forget it. We talked in hushed tones about naturopathic medicine, and it was a completely different scenario. And there were a handful of individuals, brave, forward-thinking individuals, who saw the brilliance and the authenticity and, quite frankly, the simple word for it, the truth of Dr. Wallach's message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. And they took that ball and they ran with it. And were it not for the actions of a handful of people over the last 17 years, Youngevity would not have survived. It would not have survived. Because, you know, it takes more than the chef to make the restaurant work, right? It takes more than the chef to make the restaurant work. It takes more than the engineer to keep the train rolling down the track. Well, one of the main movers in Youngevity, one of the reasons for Youngevity's longevity, one of the people who nursed Youngevity into its being, is with us right now. It is my privilege and my honor to introduce to you Youngevity's very own Todd Smith. Welcome aboard, Todd.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Glidden. That was very, very amazing introduction. I appreciate. I've heard so many times. I've been in the audience listening to you, and even been in the studio listening to you as you're interviewed on other national programs. The chance to be a guest on your program is an honor.
Well, Todd, it takes a lot of cooks to make this pie, right? And without your diligent work, as well as that of your partners and Blake Graham and everybody in your downline, Youngevity never would have survived. It's been really quite a roller coaster ride, I would assume, for you. How long have you been dealing with it now? How long? What's your track record with Youngevity? How long have you been doing it?
Well, I actually got first involved with Dr. Wallach before Youngevity existed. When Dr. Wallach was first starting formulating of products and was actually a distributor of a company, and I was in his downline. And so this was in '96 that I first met Dr. Wallach, October of 1996.
Now, when you came into Youngevity because you were actively looking for a network marketing company to align yourself with. Is that correct?
Well, I wasn't necessarily looking for a network marketing company, and I wasn't necessarily looking for health products or even a health message. At the time, my wife and I had just had triplets, and I was full-time in graduate school. And I was broke, and the 3 brand new babies, my wife and these kids needed more time for me at home, and I ended up having to make a choice. Am I going to stay in school and quit my job? Am I going to keep my job and drop out of school? So I chose to stay in school and had to let the job go, and so I was looking for another way to support the family. I actually had never heard of network marketing, didn't know what it was. But my parents had such great health results following the program that Dr. Wallach had put together and taking his formulas that my dad said, you need to go check this out and see if you can be a part of what Dr. Wallach's doing. So that was how I was introduced.
And the rest, of course, as they say, is history. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Youngevity is, in fact, a network marketing business. And in any network marketing businesses, there are ranks, right? And you rank advanced the more experience that you get and the greater your business becomes in Youngevity. Todd Smith has been at the top of the heap for how many years now, Todd? You're a senior vice chairman and marketing director, which is the highest rank in Youngevity. How many years have you occupied that position?
Since 2000.
Since 2014 years, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean, that's quite an accomplishment, because back in the day, no internet, no email. I mean, it was all lecturing. It was all boots on the ground, driving thousands of miles a year, going from town to town to town to town with Dr. Wallach and his entourage, giving, spreading this message of health recovery through science-based nutrition. It was really quite a feat, Todd, for you to pull this off. I mean, it really, every time, when I look at how difficult it's been for me to grow my business, well, not difficult isn't the word, but it's work, right? It's called network marketing for a reason, because it takes a lot of work. And when I think about how much work you must have put in to get this done before the internet, I mean, my head just explodes. I mean, it was really quite an accomplishment.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been a large team effort and lots of people involved. But we've had a vision from the beginning, and the vision was more than selling a product. The vision was more than building a network marketing business. The vision is that there's lots and lots of people out there who are suffering needlessly, and with Dr. Wallach's help, we had answers for these challenges, and we could end this suffering. And so, from day one, when my parents shared this with me, our purpose, and when Blake and I aligned as partners, our purpose and goal was, if we will put all of that first, we will put the ending of needless suffering and cost, we'll put that first, and we seek out to just find what they're struggling with, what their challenges are, plug them into the recommendations from Dr. Wallach, and now, thankfully, we have another voice with you, Dr. Glidden, and many others who have joined now as we've left our formation phase and moved into an acceleration phase of getting this message out. And we've had phenomenal success, great time, made some wonderful, wonderful friends and relationships, and it's just great to be along for the ride.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. It's quite a ride. I can't think of anything better, really. And, back in the day when I was in medical school and when I'd graduated from medical school, I knew what network marketing was, but I didn't really know what it was. And, I was arrogant. I was an arrogant pre-med student. I was an arrogant, when I first came out the couple of years, you know everything, right? I mean, that's the mindset of a doctor. And I looked down my nose at network marketing because I never really knew what it was. I didn't take time to investigate it. My mind was closed to those possibilities. Well, Dr. Wallach and fate stepped in 5 years ago and opened my mind to the possibilities of network marketing. And there's been no looking back, because you're absolutely right. There are lots of network marketing companies in the world. There are lots of nutritional supplement companies in the world, but nobody compares to Youngevity as far as what they pay in their compensation plan, what you need to do to get paid, and quite frankly, when it comes to nutritional supplements, I mean, Dr. Wallach is so far ahead of the curve. It's laughable. The competition, there's no competition. It's laughable. And when you marry these two things together, this was an aha moment that I had, right? When I understood, I had a realization that if I apply myself to network marketing with Dr. Wallach's company, the number of people that I can help to recover their health, the amount of suffering that I can end there's no limit to it. There's absolutely no limit to it. And, the money isn't bad either, as the saying goes. So really, it's a perfect solution, especially for today's marketplace. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up against a hard break here. Stick with us. When we come back, we're going to talk to Todd Smith about his experience with promoting Youngevity in another country, in Australia. And if you think Big Pharma is up to shenanigans here in the good old US of A, you're not going to believe what happened in Australia. Stick around with our very special guest, Todd Smith, Senior Vice Chairman, Marketing Director with Youngevity. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Don't even think about touching that. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, May 7th, 2014. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden, with my very special guest today, Senior Vice Chairman, Marketing Director with Youngevity for 14 years. 14 years in the top bird seat, in the catbird seat, the top dog seat. One of the reasons that Youngevity was able to survive the not-so-plush years. Todd Smith. Welcome back, Todd.
Well, thank you. Glad to be with you, Dr. G.
All right, so, if you've ever been on one of my free webinars, folks, by the way, we're coming up with another one this Thursday. This Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. It's a worldwide free webinar. It's going to be my talk about the 10 bad foods and why they're bad, to dismiss, hopefully once and for all, the question, why can't I eat oils, and what's the deal with wheat, barley, rye, and oats? That's this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's free. Go to my website right now and register your spot. The last time we had a free webinar, we had people from all over the world, and this really underlines something that my guest saw years ago, that human suffering is not relegated to the borders of the United States. So years ago, Todd Smith decided to take Youngevity to Australia, and you're never going to guess what happened after that. Todd, give us a little recap of your whole experience down under.
Well, it was a blast, I'll be honest with you. But first off, I just have to give these free webinars that you do, when you do them, are an incredible value. And I'm a subscriber to your website and use your archived webinars all the time in helping answer people's questions. So thank you so much for doing that, for making that available to everybody, because you are a resource, and you provide a resource for so many people to change their lives and to overcome these challenges. So I didn't want anyone to take that lightly, because this is a great tool that you make available to us.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's all teamwork, right? It's about teamwork.
It is, absolutely. So with Australia, the neat thing is that I was actually out shopping at a mall when I got a phone call from the CEO of Youngevity, Steve Wallach, and he said, "Todd, we're getting a lot of interest over the phone and over the internet in Australia and New Zealand." And I don't know why I said this. It actually still surprises me to this day. But I said, "I'll go." that sounds like fun. And I hadn't talked to my wife. And we had 5 little kids under age of 6. But I came back and spoke to Darcy, and she said, "What an adventure! Let's do it." So we started packing our things and putting them into storage, and moved over there. And we got over there, and the first thing I did is, we couldn't get a lot of the products imported yet. I didn't know how to do that. I'd never done it before. I didn't know a soul in Australia. And so I just imported the mineral water because that could come in under the labels of mineral water, which was non-duty, and I could get it in without having to have an import agent or anything like that, or pay any duties or taxes or tariffs. And so I had this product there, and we started after my wife finally kicked me in the backside and said, "Todd, hey, remember we moved clear across the world to do this. Maybe you ought to get doing it." So I got my guts up and started talking to people, and we did slowly, one person at a time. We started getting people to listen to Dr. Wallach's famous lecture, "Dead Doctors Don't Lie." And from the lecture, then, they would want more information, and we started holding what we called over there info night. And people would come, and one of the things I learned very early on is that you got to provide coffee, tea, and cookies or biscuits in order to get people to come. And so we would have these little info nights with coffee, tea, and biscuits, and people would come, and we would tell them they shouldn't be drinking coffee, tea, and biscuits. And that's what we did for the first year over there. And the message really caught on. I mean, the people in Australia are very open. They're very friendly. They're a loving people, and they can be cynical, but when you show them the truth, they will stand behind a fighter. They will stand behind the underdog. And when they heard Dr. Wallach's message, it resonated with them. It's a country that already goes to a naturopathic doctor before they go to an allopathic doctor. And so they were very open to the message and very excited about it. And when they realized there was a purpose and a cause and there was a fight going on that they could be a part of, they were jumping in. I mean, one of the phrases I learned over there is everyone should have a chance, and they would say, "Let's give it a go," right? And everybody would give it a go.
All right, now hold on to that thought, buddy. Hold on to that thought. This was a quick segment, up against a hard break. More when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, about Todd Smith and Youngevity's adventure down under. You're not going to believe what's coming up. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another live presentation of Fire Your MD Now. Today's date, May 7th, 2014, talking to Todd Smith, one of the Youngevity superstars, about his escapades with getting Youngevity into Australia. Okay, Todd, so the fickle finger of fate points you to Australia to forward Youngevity's message. When you are in Australia, the Australians resonate with Youngevity's message. What happens next?
Well, they resonated so well, Dr. G, that we were no longer justifiable in importing product. You couldn't do that feasibly because of the distance and the cost of shipping and the duties for import. So we started looking for manufacturers, and then there was a large manufacturer of many types of supplement programs, natural remedies, as well as pharmaceutical products. So they were manufacturing all of these, but they were the number one manufacturer in that part of the world, not just Australia, but the entire Pacific Rim, of nutritional supplements. Their name was Pan Pharmaceutical. They were, at the time, about a $30 million company, and the owner of this company was a very strong advocate for free market, strong advocate for freedom of speech, and so forth, and for access to natural alternatives, even though his company would produce for both. Well, as the natural holistic medicine, the the nutritional supplement market started to really pick up over there. We were part of that. I mean, Dr. Wallach would go over there to speak, and I remember, we had him come speak, and the first time I had him speak, we had maybe 35 to 50 people in the room at the 5 or 6 lectures that we had organized, and that's a long way to fly to speak to 35 to 50 people a night. And by within 3 or 4 months, he came over and spoke, and I got the largest room that I could get as far as a hotel banquet room, and it seated 550 people, and we had so many people register. We had to divide the night into 2 lectures: fill the room, have him lecture, clear the room out, fill it again with a second group of people on the same night.
Wow.
The message was really spreading. People were very excited, and we were manufacturing a lot of products through this Pan Pharmaceutical. Well, one of the things that's interesting in Australia is that their equivalent of the FDA over there is called TGA, Therapeutic Goods Association, and they are actually a private company that is given a complete monopoly on the regulating of nutritional products and pharmaceutical products within the country of Australia. So they're really a regulatory agency that gets to participate in the free market. So they charge for all their services and things like that, and they're self-funded. However, they are completely directed and overseen by the government. It's a really interesting scenario because they can be profitable and turn profits and receive perks and benefits from pharmaceutical companies, and their executives do all of their continuing education in Fiji and Bali and so forth, where there's all sorts of interesting hanky-panky going on. This is all documented in the research, but they are the ones who give the yes and the no with regards to product approvals and so forth. And there was, without any warning, an announcement that there was a product made from Pan Pharmaceuticals that was unsafe, and not just unsafe, but they categorized it as a Class 1 recall item, which means in order to satisfy that requirement, it has to be something that will cause severe injury and or death. Immediate severe and or injury and or death in order to be considered a Class 1 recall, where everybody has to send it back and no one is supposed to touch it, and the product has to be destroyed, and there's a warning sent out. It was on every major newspaper. 20 major papers had it on the front page of the paper.
Wow.
And it wasn't just that one product. Even though there was nothing documented, even with that one product, it was a staged situation where an ingredient was in the product that was actually a legal ingredient in the product, which was used in many pharmaceutical products that it was actually producing at the same facility. None of them were recalled. There were no warnings issued on them. But this one was recalled, and then it became an across-the-board recall of every nutritional supplement that Pan Pharmaceutical makes, a Class 1 recall.
Wow.
And they listed all of the companies who had products made through Pan Pharmaceutical on this front-page paper by alphabetical order. And it literally, in a matter of 4 days, shut down every health food store, every nutritional company, every network marketing company that sold nutritional products. Every single competition in Australia there was to pharmaceutical drugs was shut down in 4 days.
Unbelievable. Now, I'm assuming that there were legal battles which ensued. Is that right?
Yeah, so the owner of the company, he lost everything. Within 60 days, the government had come in and liquidated every one of his assets, the warehouse, the manufacturing, everything. I mean, it was as if, and not as if, they knew that they had to destroy the evidence, because when they actually went and researched the claim, it was completely unfounded. Right. And there was no evidence for it. And if anything, it never should have even been a recall, let alone a Class 1 recall. And so the owner of this company sued the TGA, which is basically suing the government, right? And he was awarded $55 million for fraudulent acts and judgments in the handling of this case by the TGA. Now, after that, there was a class action lawsuit, which then settled for $250 million. And so you can see the TGA, which ultimately means the Australian taxpayers. The Australian taxpayers ended up paying, $300 million just in the punishments and the fees, just in order to squash basically the nutritional supplement industry in Australia and to provide a monopolistic environment for the pharmaceutical companies and their products.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is just an unbelievable thing. So what happened to the TGA after this? I mean, after they were found guilty that they, cooked the books and that they'd made the whole thing up and the government ordered them to, pay $300 million in damages, what happened to the TGA?
Well, you would expect that there would be some pretty big repercussions, that executives would get fired and roasted at the stick or something, right? But nothing.
Right.
There were no punishments for individuals. There were no changes to the way the organization operates. Nothing changed as a result of it.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's good to be king, because when you're king, you can chop people's heads off and you get away with it, you get a pass, you get impunity. I mean, it's unbelievable. We see it here in the United States on kind of lower scale stuff, kind of more hidden in the background, hidden in the shadows. I mean, this is just unbelievable to me that this was such a flagrant thing in front of everybody's face, countrywide. So after the dust settles, what happened to the nutritional supplement industry in Australia?
Well, first off, Dr. G, had I not been there, had I not actually experienced it, I wouldn't believe it, right? This sounds too far-fetched, too extreme. Nobody does that. But I did. I lived it. I saw it. It's all documented. You can find it all on the web. So what happened is, to the credit of the Australians, they are honest people. They are up for a fight. And Steve Wallach and Dr. Wallach and the team at Youngevity, as well as a few others, we were the only ones at first, found ways to produce products in the USA through already TGA-authorized facilities that allowed us to manufacture them in the U.S. At extreme cost, because it was short notice, air freight them over to Australia so that we could provide products to these people, because there's nothing on the shelves. I mean, they could not get a product anywhere, not just our product. They couldn't get anybody's product. And it was, basically it was a complete confiscation, shutdown of anybody with nutritional products. And so, and they scare all the old ladies of they're scared now of the calcium pills and so forth.
Right.
And so, but to the credit of the Australians, they saw through it. Even faster than the litigation could be handled. And in a matter of a few weeks to months, because we were able to get the products back in their hands, you can't fight the numbers, you can't fight the results. And when people's health is turned around and then it goes bad, they say, I don't care where I have to go and what I have to do, I'm going to get myself the stuff for mom, for dad, for sister, for brother. And that's what happened. And so the nutritional supplement business, the alternative health industry in Australia is alive and well. It survived this. It's been a slap in the face to the TGA, as well as to the pharmaceutical companies. Now, that doesn't mean they're done, right? They've got another plan that they're scheming right now, I'm sure, or more. But the truth of the matter is that the honest will prevail, the truth will prevail. And because of fighters like yourself and Dr. Wallach and Youngevity and the team we have, we just don't give up. We will succeed. We will be able to resolve people's health issues. We will be able to make sure that we get people on the right side of the fence and that they don't have to suffer.
I mean, it's just an unbelievable thing. When I heard this story the first time, ladies and gentlemen, here's what happened to me. My head exploded, just like that. Let's hear that once more. My head exploded just like that. This is unbelievable, right? We talk about this all of the time, that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that, when you're the head of the monopoly, you can do whatever you want and you get a ride. You get impunity. There's no jail time. You're too big to fail. Too big to jail. Well, in Australia, they shut the entire nutritional supplement industry down countrywide based on nothing other than fiction. Nothing other than fiction. Took a while for it to come back, but as my guest says, the truth will out, and this, I think, is one of the things that we need to talk about more in longevity. Because in point of fact, when you put the mission before the commission, when you put the mission of helping people to recover their health, to helping people to get on the other side of a bad health issue, helping to relieve human suffering, I mean, that's something to get up for in the morning. That's something to get excited about in the morning. And it does not matter who stands in your way, because once you have experienced the truth, you're in its velvet grasp forever. And this is one of the greatest things about longevity, because when you get involved with longevity, folks, you are going to find yourself in the company of people like Todd Smith, people like Blake Graham, people like Steve Wallach, people like Dr. Joel Wallach, and thousands of other individuals all around the world helping to keep this engine running, like-minded individuals of single purpose who have experienced the truth and have no problem whatsoever opening their mouth about it. Todd, I could talk to you all day about stuff like this. You're a legend in longevity. I'd love to have you back in the future. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, the privilege is mine, absolutely. And all I can say is, please, everybody listening, join our fight. Join us.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Todd Smith. Let's give him a great big round of applause. Thanks so much, buddy. We will see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Fire Your MD Now. Today is May 7th, 2014. If you're not infuriated by that last interview, if your head didn't explode, then you must be from another planet. I'm going to the phones when we come back. Don't even think about touching that dial. It's the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the second hour. I got to give it up again. I got to give another big round of applause for Todd Smith. I mean, I just have to. Really just unbelievable work. Unbelievable work that he and his team have done to keep longevity alive when it wasn't sexy, right? When longevity was in the formative years, when people were looking down their nose at naturopathic physicians, at network marketing, at the whole nutritional supplement thing. Todd Smith, Blake Graham, the whole Utah team kept longevity alive. And the stuff that they did, I mean, like, who knew about the experience in Australia? Who knew? That needs to be talked about more. We need to make a CD about that, for goodness sake. You know, how does that saying go? The only thing necessary for evil to exist is for good men and women to do nothing. Well, guess what? We're doing something every day here to raise people up into the undiscovered country, give people a tour, welcome people with open arms into the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Let's go to California now and see what Dave is up to. Hey, Dave, thanks for the phone call. You are live. Come in, Dave. Are you with me? Hello, Dave. I hear you. I hear you reaching for the phone, Dave.
I wasn't sure if you're calling me. I'm in Sacramento, and I take care of a guy that it feeds through his stomach. He has a tube going directly into his stomach.
Yikes.
He's been taking the longevity formulas for for at least 3 months now. And the problem that's come up is some of his medical people are questioning the dose. What is a toxic dose of selenium, chromium, vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin E?
Massive. I mean, have them look it up. You want to ask them. Number one, do they have any training in medical nutrition? You want to ask them these questions. Number one, have you had any training in medical nutrition?
Okay.
Number two, please define a vitamin. Tell me what a vitamin is. I want you to tell me what's a vitamin. Number three, what's an essential nutrient? How many are there? And can you name the essential nutrients? Now, if they can't answer those questions, then they have no business having any opinion whatsoever about therapeutic doses of medical nutrition. So you want to fight fire with fire. You want to throw it right back in their faces and get them to, hopefully see that they're just walking inside of waters that they shouldn't be in whatsoever. They have no idea what they're talking about. Quite frankly, everything that he's taking is an essential nutrient. And the toxic doses of these things are, you have to take massive amounts of them. How's the guy doing, by the way, you've been giving the longevity stuff to? How's he been in the last couple of weeks?
He's been improving. However, he's looking for more weight gain, and it's not been coming very steadily.
Well, weight gain, that's one thing and one thing only. Weight gain is one thing and one thing only, more calories. So one of the easiest ways to get really good calories into his body that the body can metabolize relatively easily is to get a Vitamix, get some almonds, throw the almonds in the Vitamix with a little bit of salt, press frappe, grind the almonds up into a liquid, paste, boom, just like that. That's what the Vitamix does. You can make your own almond butter and put that in the feeding tube with a little bit of honey. Put that in the feeding tube with a little bit of honey. Immediately made almond butter with salt and honey, loaded with calories. I mean, it's loaded with calories.
Can you do that with a NutriBullet?
Yeah, yes, you can. You betcha you can. Absolutely.
Okay, question. His epiglottis is currently not functioning. It will not close. The valve will not close. Can all this nutrition help to get the valve to close?
Well, it's entirely possible because here's the deal, right? The only reason that valve doesn't close, it's one of two things. Either it's a neurological problem that the nerves that go to that have been damaged by something. I mean, why does he have a feeding tube? Is he a cancer patient?
He had a tumor in his neck, and they finally had to cut it out and give him radiation and chemo. Yeah,
so it was the radiation probably that messed up the flap, the epiglottis. It's probably the radiation that messed that up, if I had to guess, because that's a really hard structure of the body to harm. It's a really hard structure of the body to harm. You have to really do a directed therapeutic there, like drink something nasty all of the time or radiation, right? It was probably the radiation that did it. So here's what I know about all of this stuff, Dave, right? Here's what I know. Most of the time, the thing that harms people is conventional medical treatment. Most of the time, if his health practitioners are so concerned about his health, then where were they when the MDs prescribed radiation and chemotherapy? Because radiation and chemotherapy for this type of cancer is ineffective. It does not work. It does not work. Where were they when the oncologist recommended these treatments? The oncologists know they don't work. Why do they recommend them? Because it's a for-profit industry and they have to make money. So they give chemotherapy not because it helps the patient, but to make money. They give radiation not because it helps the patient, but to make money. And more often than not, they mess the radiation up and they cause harm into the bargain, especially if they're using the older radiation stuff. You can make the argument that the newer radiation stuff is much more dialed in, but still, the tumor is not the damn disease. The tumor is the result of the disease. The tumor is the result of the disease. And does chemotherapy do anything to get to the cause of it? No. Does radiation do anything to get to the cause of it? No. In a perfect world, all that radiation does is eliminate the cancer cells. What caused the cells to become cancerous in the first place? Nobody knows. So where were the healthcare practitioners when this guy was up against it and they were recommending these therapeutics that completely messed him up? So much so that he has to be on a feeding tube now. Where were they then? They were persona incognito. That's where they were then. You can tell them to go shove it where the sun doesn't shine.
They are still persona incognita. And let me tell you one other thing. They are prescribing about 4 or 5 different drugs to him. For diabetes, for prostate, and for high blood pressure. And I'm not sure if he really needs this junk, and it may be complicating his recovery from whatever else he's going through.
Well, of course, type 2 diabetes, from our point of view, is a multiple mineral deficiency, and you can support and promote the function of the blood sugar relatively easy with the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. High blood pressure, most of the time, is a calcium and a magnesium deficiency. So to support and promote healthy blood sugar, we give more liquid calcium and magnesium. Prostate issues respond beautifully to selenium. You don't have an inflamed prostate because you have a prostate. You don't have an inflamed prostate because you have a deficiency in a prostate drug, right? It's nonsense. So all of these things we can make headway with because we have science-based, clinically verified therapeutics developed and delivered by licensed physicians, the intention of which are to support and promote the structure and function of all of these areas of his body. So if it were me, or were he my patient in a state in which I was licensed, he wouldn't be on any prescription medications whatsoever. We would manage all of this stuff with medical nutrition, and he never would have gotten the radiation and chemo. He might have had the surgery, but he never would have gotten...
They cut the tumor out.
Yeah, then it always grows back. 100% of the time when they cut the tumor out, it grows back, unless it's a breast cancer tumor that they get soon enough, but what they do there is they hack the whole breast off. Or if it's because there are certain tumors that are organ specific. And that, breast cancer will only show up in the breast, right? Prostate cancer will only show up in the prostate. It can spread from there to other parts of the body, but if you hack the breast off before it gets time to spread, well, that's considered a cure. It's nonsense. That's like saying, cut your legs off, and that's a cure for tingling in your toes. We don't have any more tingling in your toes. And this is what we've come to, man. So
this stuff is really like when you listen to the whole story and you hear the whole truth. This really is common sense, a lot of it. But right now we're trying to. He really would like the patient would like to eat normally, and so we're trying to everything we can. I think what we need to do is. Get rid of all those drugs because I don't think he needs them anymore. They're attacking selenium, chromium, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and they're probably attacking the very things that are going to make him healthier and relieve him of the need for all these medications, right?
And it's his body; it's not theirs. He can do whatever the hell he wants, right?
Exactly. He's in charge, and he's telling them.
There's no problem with toxicity with this stuff. Zero. There's zero problem with toxicity for this stuff. Every once in a while, it's possible to overdo it with selenium. But if you overdo it with selenium, you start to get fishy, garlicky breath. Your hair starts to get dry or brittle, or you get funky fingernails. And that happens years in advance of any organ damage that selenium can possibly produce at an above normal dose. So there's no harm and no foul. If somebody's taking selenium and any of these things start to happen, you just back off on the dose by 2 capsules, it all goes away, and there's no harm and no foul. Again, these people have no clinical experience with this type of stuff, and they should just stay the hell out of it. They should stay away from this domain because they have no idea what they're talking about. Now, the epiglottis is cartilage. No different than the cartilage in your shoulder or your knee or your hips. So, to support and promote the healthy structure and function of cartilage in the epiglottis, give him glucogel. Give him glucogel. Have him take the glucogel liquid because he's on a feeding tube. I would do 1 bottle of Glucogel Plus, liquid Glucogel Plus, per 50 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of liquid Glucogel Plus per 50 pounds of body weight per month. Don't worry about the other nonsense. He's good to go. God bless you for taking a stand for another human being who's not you, Dave. You get the gold star today. Keep up the fight, brother, because you are the last best hope your community has. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you on May 7th, 2014, and their phones are lit up like a Christmas tree. Let's stay in California and see what's going on with Eric. Hey, Eric, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Dr. Glidden, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. How can I help?
A couple things. I probably should have called in before I started longevity. My questions are, I've been on it for about 14 days. My symptoms are extreme spine pain. Feels like, man, I've got like 5 discs out, which I've had an MRI, completely negative. All my muscles from my knees to my neck are, it feels like I worked out for a month straight. And then So on the longevity, I don't know if I'm taking the right amounts because it's almost like it's getting a little worse. Like my muscles just...
That's. I'm so glad you called, man. That will happen if you take not exactly the right stuff, because in the human body it's all about the balance, right? And in the holistic methodology, this is of maximum importance, because we don't want to just give 1, 2, 3, or 4 things in large amounts like the MDs do, right? They'll say, oh, take 10,000 units of vitamin D, right? Or, you got to inject vitamin C. You need 20 grams of vitamin C a day, like Linus Pauling. It's nonsense. When you give the body the full boat, right, everything that it needs in doses appropriate for your body weight and appropriate for whatever it is you've got going on, it works. When you don't do that, you're going to throw a little imbalance into the system, and things are going to become aggravated along the way. Now, I'm very interested in your case here, Eric. So tell me, how many medical professionals have you been to try to dial in a diagnosis here?
Wow, it's going on 15 months, and I know, it's crazy.
How many people have you seen? How many people have you seen, do you figure?
15.
15 people in 15 months, and nobody can tell you what's what, right?
No, blood work is undefinitive. They think everything from Lyme disease to extreme arthritis, lupus. They can't pin anything definitive.
Yeah, don't you just love that? I mean, doesn't that just make you all feel warm and fuzzy about your medical insurance premium checks that you've been writing every day for the last 20 years? Because heaven forbid something goes wrong. And isn't that what the insurance companies tell you? Oh, you need insurance. Oh, you need insurance because, oh my God, when something goes wrong, you're going to need access to the MDs. Something went wrong. You've had access to the MDs for 15 months, and they have left you hanging, and they are completely unapologetic about it. They're completely unconflicted about it, and meanwhile, you suffer. It's a big, bad voodoo daddy. Look, brother, it sounds to me like it's a fibromyalgia-esque syndrome. And by the way, fibromyalgia is just a fancy schmancy smorgasbord term for inflammation in the muscles, ligaments, tendons, and joints, right? I mean, you could honestly say that every human being living and breathing at one moment in time experiences fibromyalgia because, your muscles, ligaments, bones, and joints hurt from time to time just because. So if you want to give a name to it, that's what I would do, but names in this regard are mostly irrelevant. What is relevant is that we support and promote the proper structures of your body. And, in this case, right, it's bones, ligaments, muscles, and tendons that need help, right? Bones, ligaments, muscles, and tendons. Are we in agreement with that?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to tell you that the single most important thing to take when you are attempting to do this is the trace mineral selenium. Selenium is of maximum importance here, right? So if this were a blood pressure issue, calcium and magnesium would be of maximum importance. If this was a heartburn issue, calcium and salt would be of maximum importance. If this were specifically a ligament or a tendon issue, glucosamine sulfate and chondroitin sulfate and hyaluronic acid would be necessary. But with overarching musculoskeletal stuff like you've got, selenium, baby. Selenium all the way. I don't care how much you weigh. Here's what I want you to take. I want you to get 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium in 1 month. I want you to take 12 selenium a day for 4 weeks, 4 between breakfast and lunch, 4 between lunch and dinner, 4 between dinner and bed, on top of, well, stick around with me, Eric. I'll dial in the rest for you when we come back. So glad. Welcome back, everybody. A lot of big bada booms today. Hope you're learning something. I sure am. Let's go back and finish up with Eric from California. So, Eric, how much do you weigh? What's your current body weight?
170.
Okay, 170 pounds. And what longevity supplements have you been taking so far?
I have been taking the Ultimate Enzymes, the Starter Pack, the Glucose Gel, and the Root Beer Belly.
All right, so when you're finished with the Root Beer Belly, you can stop it. When you're finished with the Glucose Gel, you can stop it. And the Healthy Pack that you're taking, does it have powdered calcium or liquid calcium?
Powder.
All right, so here's what I'd like you to do for your next order, okay? Well, immediately, I want you to order 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, and I want you to take 4 capsules 3 times a day between meals, okay? 4 capsules 3 times a day between meals. In your next monthly order, I'd like you to order these things. 4 selenium. Well, figure out how many selenium you'll need, right? Because we're already kind of in the middle of the month. I want you to get 1 Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. You're going to have to order these separately as opposed to a pack. 1 Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. You're already taking that. That's the orange Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I want you to get 1 of those a month. I'd like you to get 2 bottles of Beyond Osteo FX Liquid. Beyond Osteo FX Liquid. That's the liquid calcium. I'd like you to take 1 ounce of that in a couple of ounces of orange juice in the morning, and 1 ounce of that in a couple of ounces of orange juice immediately before bed. 2 ounces a day. You'll go through 2 bottles a month. And the final thing is EFA Plus. EFA Plus. Please order 1 bottle of the EFA Plus and just take 3 a day with meals. You can take all 3 at once. You can spread them out. I don't care what you do, but take that supplement with a meal. Now, we've got the Beyond Tangy, we've got the Beyond Osteo, we've got the EFA Plus, and we've got the Selenium. That's an excellent program for you, and if that doesn't produce remarkable results in 21 days, I will eat my hat. But to accelerate your chances of a remarkable outcome rapidly, you must stop eating the 10 bad foods. Are you familiar with that list?
No, sir.
Okay, well, this is your lucky day, man. On my website, drglidden.com, or my favorite, fireyourmdnow.com.
I like that one.
Yeah, right? Just scroll down on the front page until you see there's a list. There's a little link, and you can download that list for free. Give us your email address. You download the list for free. Now, tomorrow night, as fate would have it, I'm giving a free worldwide webinar. We already have 325 people registered for it. I think we're going to beat 500. I think we're going to be over 500 attendees. Tomorrow night, it's free, 8 o'clock Central Time. I'm going to give a 45-minute webinar which explains why each of the 10 bad foods is bad for you. And it's a lot of fun, man. These webinars are just a lot of fun because they're live. You're in a chat room, a webinar room with hundreds, literally hundreds of people from all over the world who share your point of view about holistic medicine. It's a fantastic community of people to be, to hang out with. Quite frankly, we do it through Google Hangout. It's a blast, and tomorrow night it's free, so check it out. And the information for that, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, right there on the front page of my website. It's right there on the front page of my website. It's the first thing that pops up. Go there now and register for tomorrow night's event, 8 o'clock Central Time. You don't want to miss this. It's free. There's a link there that you can email to everybody in your family. I mean, if you've ever had people in your life that you wanted to get on the holistic train, but you didn't know how, invite them to tomorrow night's webinar. We're going to blow minds tomorrow night, and we're going to unite Longevity Nation worldwide. I can't wait. So that's what you need to do, Eric. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. You dial in those supplements, but then I want you to make me a promise, man. I want you to call me back in 2 weeks. Once you've done 12 selenium a day for 2 weeks, and you've eliminated all 10 bad foods, I want you to call me back live on the air and tell me how you're doing.
I appreciate it.
All right. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the phone call. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, I hope. That's fireyourmdnow.com or DRGLIDDEN. That's drglidden.com. Register right now for tomorrow night's free worldwide webinar where I explain the 10 bad foods and why they're bad. You can't beat free. I mean, can you beat free? I don't know how you can beat free. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. That is tomorrow night. When we come back from this break, we're going to be with Sharon from New York. Sharon from New York is up next. Unless we have time right now, which we may. I may have gotten my time signatures incorrect. So let's just go to New York and talk to Sharon from New York about fatigue. Hey, Sharon. Thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glenn. Thank you so much, and God bless you for all that you're doing for us. Now, I have an issue with stress, but let me say this first, that I was diagnosed in 2000 with lupus, but I'm doing much better. I've been cured by that, from that, thank God. But I'm under so much stress that I'm constantly tired, fatigued, and I don't sleep well at night. So I just want to know what foods to eat and vitamins, or what do I do?
Well, you could. Awesome, you called the right person. So
Great.
tell me about the sleep issue. Is it difficulty falling asleep, or is it difficulty staying asleep? What's the deal?
Staying asleep. I toss, and then I wake up with my head feeling so tight, but the base of my neck hurts.
All right.
My shoulders.
All right. So how tall are you, and how much do you weigh?
5'5", about 135.
All right, that's great. How old are you, by the way?
That many. 49.
Okay, great. So here's what I would recommend. How'd you hear about us, by the way? How'd you hear about this radio show?
Oh, man, actually, my sister, she's in Brooklyn, New York, and she told me about you, that someone gave her your number, so.
Okay, great. Well, so we have, we represent a worldwide company that's a network marketing company that disseminates our health recovery formulas through their individual networks. So when I tell you what to take, you want to get back with your sister and find out how she found out about longevity and go there to order the products, because otherwise everything gets all messed up, and that's no fun. And if you just go on the internet to try to get this stuff, you'll be nailed with the full retail price, and that ain't pretty. So you want to go through a distributor to get this, and we like to maintain the integrity of who told who, right? I mean, that's only the right thing to do, and that's what we do. So get with your sister. But here's what I would take if I were you, and if you don't experience a noticeable, measurable change within 4 weeks of starting this program, I will eat my hat. So here it goes.
Okay.
All right. I'd like you to order 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0.
I'm sorry, Beyond what, Tangerine?
Yeah, it's a weird name, right? I mean, I don't know who the heck named this. It's called Beyond Tangy, Tangy, Tangerine. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. 2.0. It's the new one. It's called 2.0. Tangy Tangerine 2.0. 1 bottle of that. You need 2 bottles of a liquid calcium supplement called Beyond Osteo, O-S-T like Thomas, E-O, Beyond Osteo FX.
S as in Frank and X.
Correct. Beyond Osteo Frank X-ray, right? 2 bottles of that. 1 bottle of EFA Plus, like Edward Francis Albert Plus, EFA Plus. 1 bottle of EFA Plus. And 2 bottles of Ultimate Ultimate Selenium. You spell that S like Sam, E, L like Larry, E, N like Nancy, I-U-M. Ultimate Selenium. 2 Ultimate Selenium, 1 EFA Plus, 2 Beyond Osteo FX Plus, and 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0. Now, that's the stuff you need to take into your body every day. And there are 10 foods that you need to stop eating. I need to stop eating. Your sister needs to stop eating. Everybody on the freaking planet. I heard that too. I got the website. All right, so you need to dial that list in. Join us for the webinar tonight, tomorrow night, if you can. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you need to stop eating. All right, good. So stop eating those 10 foods. Get those supplements. Call your sister up. Figure out how to get them, and call me back after you've been doing them for 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Well, you can thank me after it works. Sharon, I appreciate your trust, though. I mean, I really do. So give it a try. You're going to love how you feel. An undernutrified body is a pain. An undernutrified body is a problem. An undernutrified body is no fun to walk around planet Earth in. No different than an automobile that hasn't been tuned up. I mean, if you had an automobile, it's got 20,000 miles on it, 30,000 miles on it, 50,000 miles on it, 70,000 miles on it, 100,000 miles on it, and it's never, ever, ever been tuned up, how do you think it's going to run? Like crap. But you're going to get used to the car running like crap. You're going to get used to having to take 5 minutes to start it. You're going to get used to having to lean on the brakes 100 yards before the stop sign. You're going to get used to the car not being able to accelerate like all the other cars. You're going to get used to it. That's what's happened to you and your body. You've gotten used to mediocrity. You've gotten used to walking around on planet Earth in a completely undernutrified body. And through no fault of your own, you have let the food industry tell you what to eat. You've let General Mills and Monsanto and Procter & Gamble tell you what food is good for you. Now, do you think it's smart to let the people who make the food tell you what food to eat? I don't think it is. Our message is simple. Nutrify your body with 90 essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight. It's easy. We have it dialed right in for you. We have healthy packs which support and promote the structure and function of different areas of your body on top of a holistic foundation. And we advise elimination of 10 foods. And if you do these 2 things, stop eating the 10 bad foods. Stop putting diesel fuel into an unleaded engine, for goodness sake. And just tune the car up, why don't you? Just give your body a chance. Give your body a break. Give your body the essential nutrients that it needs. For the first time in your life, you're going to be driving around with a tuned-up car, and that is all the difference in the world. It's night and day. It's night and day. You have no idea what you're missing, which is why longevity from a business aspect is a no-brainer, because everybody is undernutrified. Nobody knows what we know. Everybody needs to know what we know, and when everybody applies what we know, everybody feels better. Now, what's better? Feeling better or feeling worse? Which is better? Feeling better or feeling worse? Well, feeling better is better. If you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and broke, you've come to exactly the right place. FireYourMDNow.com. Click on the Join Team Glidden button if you have an interest in the longevity business opportunity. If you found us through your own volition, otherwise get with the person who told you about me and have them show you the ropes. And this is how we're going to change the world with a gigantic network of the informed. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Finishing up today's show. This was one for the record books. Man, that first hour with Todd Smith, my head is still swimming about that. If you weren't able to be here for the first hour, then just listen to the podcast. It was a really interesting interview, and everybody in the world needs to hear that. Let's finish up the show today in California. A lot of calls from California today with Salamina. Hey, Salamina, thanks for the phone call. You are live. Salamina. Hello.
Hello. How are you, doctor?
I'm good, thanks. You're going to have to speak up a little, Salamina. Your signal's a little weak.
Is that any better?
Oh, that's a lot better. You just came and went again, though. So figure it out.
Okay. Well, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's much better now, Salamina. Thanks for the phone call. How can I help?
I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she has a chronic Jones fracture. She recently on Sunday fractured her foot playing basketball. This is the third time in exactly the same spot on the same foot.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so there's two things that are going on there, all right? Number one, I mean, we can't overlook the obvious, right? Her body has run out of the nutrients that it needs to maintain healthy bone and joint tissue, and she has a weak link, and it just happens to be this foot. Everybody has a weak link in their body. With some people, it's their bones, right? Some people, it's their left kidney, or some people, it's their right shoulder, or, their liver, or their eyes, or whatever. Everybody has weaknesses that are baked into the cake. Hers, apparently, are the bones in this foot. But this is not a genetic problem. This is a nutritional problem because her body just doesn't have the raw materials it needs to make strong and healthy bones. And so when she puts too much stress on the bone, what do you know? It breaks. I mean, everybody breaks with too much stress. Even Superman breaks with too much stress, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the one thing here is we need to feed her body the nutrients that it needs to have strong and healthy bones, ligaments, tendons, and joints the way that nature and God intended it to, number one. But number two, and we can't overlook this, she has to stop eating food that's interfering with bone health. She has to stop eating food that's interfering with her body's ability to sort all of this out, right? I mean, it's a patently male metaphor, and excuse me for using it because I overuse it, but if you bought a brand new Lamborghini, right? You win the lottery and you go and buy a brand new Lamborghini, and the engine requires unleaded fuel. Well, if you put diesel fuel in that engine, that car is going to run like crap if it runs at all, and there's nothing wrong with the car. You just put the wrong fuel in it. Well, it's the same with the human body. The biggest food voodoo daddies, the biggest, baddest foods for bone health are soda pop. Soda pop. Does she drink any?
No, she doesn't drink soda.
She doesn't drink any soda at all. The next biggest bad voodoo daddy would be gluten. It would be wheat, barley, rye, or oats. Does your family eat, conventional grains, wheat, barley, rye, and oats?
They eat some. I would say not excessively. Personally, I don't really, but I was recently introduced to longevity, so I've been kind of sharing that information with them and trying to wean them off it.
Yeah, well, so all right. So this is a problem, right? And if you have them show up at tomorrow night's webinar, and by the way, it's tomorrow night, Thursday night, May 8th, ladies and gentlemen, 8 p.m. Central Time, my free worldwide webinar on the 10 bad foods. I'll explain specifically why wheat, barley, rye, and oats are bad for them, and maybe that will help to turn the nut. But in any event, how much does this young girl weigh?
Well, I think she's around 170, 160.
160 pounds. Okay, so the recommendation then would be for 1 month. Well, from our point of view, right, everybody needs to be on the essential nutrients every day for the rest of their life, the same way that we need to take showers and eat food and drink water. You need the essential nutrients. Well,
right.
Here's what I would start her with to have her develop results. It would be one healthy bone and joint pack original formula, one healthy bone and joint pack original formula, and one extra bottle of Beyond Osteo FX liquid. That's one healthy bone and joint pack original formula and one extra Beyond Osteo FX liquid, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. It's going to produce results within 4 weeks. Have her pay attention to her mood, her energy, her sleep, menstrual cramps specifically. I bet you she has really bad menstrual cramps. In any event, give us a call back in a couple of weeks for the report, and I will look forward to it.